Massive, big boy chapter here from chapter 203. We get to see Choso fighting Kenjaku here, and we also get to see the special grades and what makes a special grade finally said out loud and finally clarified for us here. Because for the longest time, we've just saw special grades and just assumed that these are these superhuman powerhouses. We don't really know what puts them above grade 1 into special grade. Finally get clarification on it today. My name's Andy, or Dynamic Weeb, and if you like this video, make sure to subscribe. But without further ado, let's get into the review. This is a big boy chapter here. So the chapter opens up with this little memory flashback with Choso speaking to Yuki. As we saw in the last chapter, Choso had just unleashed a piercing blood to attack Kenjaku. We see that Choso wants to face Kenjaku alone, and Yuki says that you will die if you do this, with Choso then replying, so you'd rather the two of us fight Kamo Noritoshi together? Wouldn't we just get in each other's way? So let me go out first, I'll figure out what Chaos spirits he has, or some information about his Chaos technique, and then you can follow up. That's our best option here. Choso then says, if I can get him to use his domain. Yuki then saying, let me say it again, you will die here. Choso then arguing back with, it doesn't matter as long as he dies, for the sake of my mother's curse, which makes up half of me and my brothers. And also, Yuki then interjects, saying right after the domain expansion, he'll be in a state where it's hard to use his curse technique. She can ambush him then. The pair of them agree. This is a nice little interesting exchange here to know that they are actually planning out the defenses here to fight Kenjaku, and they're giving him respect because they know just how powerful this dude is. But in the next couple of panels, we go back to where we left off in the last chapter with the piercing blood almost hitting Kenjaku. Kenjaku focuses almost. It kind of looks like he is shocked, but Kenjaku focuses and then just effortlessly dodges it, sending a cursed spirit that looks, again, like Onyx, wrapping around his piercing blood straight over towards Choso. Choso caves. What it looks like, Choso caves the piercing blood, redirecting the cursed spirit and eviscerating most of the area in front of him here. Kenjaku then just decides, F it, I'm gonna become a surfer boy. Starts surfing on a rock with another rock in his hand and is ready to throw this rock at Choso. Choso's saying, you're underestimating me too much, and Kenjaku replies with, do I? Before we see a bunch more of cursed spirits exploding from behind the rock here. Choso then uses a supernova to eviscerate these cursed spirits flying at him. Man, I have to say, by the way, these cursed spirits kind of look like the gingerbread man from Shrek. Choso uses the supernova attack there and then has to shield from the explosion of his own attack here. Geto taking full advantage of this and curving round to the left side of Choso to then warp and throw hands with Choso. Choso then has another supernova attack literally just under the right side of Kenjaku's arm here. He explodes this attack and then demands that Kenjaku answer him. What do you want to do with Yuji? He's not like us who you abandoned for 150 years. You must have a plan for him. Kenjaku then responds with, I don't really have a concrete plan for that thing. I also find it very interesting here how he refers to it as a thing. He doesn't view these people as cases or spirits or humans, it's just a thing. He then goes on to say, I guess if I had to say, then he's just a vessel. And that role's finished now though. Itadori Yuji was merely the smoke signal that set things off. As long as that thing continues to coexist with Sukuna, the cycle of cases will never end and he will become the eye of the storm for a new era. Choso then getting even more annoyed, firing at piercing blood at Kenjaku. Again, Kenjaku looking mildly uninterested by this, dodges it effortlessly, and he says, as long as Yuji continues to exist. Wrong. It's as long as you continue to exist, Kamo Noritoshi. You are the source of all of this misfortune, and definitely not Yuji here. Lots of things to break down in this little monologue here from Kenjaku, and one of the most important things that I think has come across in this little speech that he's give here is that his role is finished now, which makes me really curious as to what's happening inside of the Cullen Games right now. What's happening inside of those fields, because if that role's finished and Kenjaku has appeared here, what is happening inside the Cullen Games? What has happened to Yuji for him to say that that role is finished? We could possibly switch back to Yuji and see him fully switched over to Sukuna. Lots of questions, and again, Kenjaku is being very secretive and mysterious about this, and I just want answers, bro. That's all I want in my life right now. Moving swiftly on, we see that Choso has been ensnared by some low-level cases that Kenjaku has been secretly slithering underneath the panels that they're standing on. Choso then realizes this and says he has cursed spirits crawled out from under, and it's at this point Kenjaku lands a massive hit on Choso here, absolutely eviscerating him, saying, I know you're just a vanguard, you're just trying to reveal even a little of my cursed technique for Tsukumo Yuki, right? Unfortunately, I only plan on using my cursed spirit manipulation for you. With the low-grade cursed spirits at that, or rather, there's simply no need to do more than that, because all of you are just failures. What do you even know of my brothers? Choso screams moves while under the foot of Kenjaku. Kenjaku then replying with, "Oh, sorry, did I hurt your feelings? I look forward to you so much, and yet you disappointed me so. Maybe you can be proud of yourself for making me talk this much." We then get this really interesting panel here where Choso grabs Kenjaku's foot, and it's specifically highlighted for some reason that Choso is shocked by something, he realizes something. His hand is outlined here for a specific reason, and Kenjaku also looks a bit sort of shocked by this. It makes me wonder what it is that's going on here. What has Choso felt? Maybe because Choso is a Curse Womb Death Painting, maybe making physical contact like this with Kenjaku has maybe triggered something inside of him. I don't know, but this seemed a bit too deliberate for it to be just ignored as a little detail. It could just be a little detail, but it did seem way too deliberate for it to be just here for no reason. We then see Kenjaku launching Cursed Spirit again at Choso, and I have to point out that this Cursed Spirit does look a lot like the Cursed Spirit that we saw in the previous chapter. That massive centipede looking thing that we saw that was looming over Japan, it looks very, very similar to that. This is where we see Kenjaku say, "Do you know what it means to be a special grade sorcerer?" as Choso's being launched through the air by this Cursed Spirit. He then says, and it's in quotation marks, "someone who can overthrow a country single-handedly," while Choso is on the floor, battered. It also looks like his arm is messed up, like his left arm there is absolutely obliterated on the floor here, and I want to come back to this point in a second. But then Kenjaku then goes on to say that Gojo obviously qualifies, Geto too, because Cursed Spirit manipulation could produce an entire army of monsters. Many hands make light work, I think that's how the saying goes, and even if they're just low-grade spirits, after enchanting them with my cursed energy, swarming them and giving them orders, they can even take out grade 1 sorcerers on your level. This little segment here where he says someone who can overthrow a country single-handedly is absolutely massive to the development of special grade sorcerers. There has been so many theories about why so many other sorcerers in the series can be special grade, or what makes them grade 1, or what makes them eligible to be special grade, but now we finally know what makes them special grade, because Yuta could easily wipe out an entire country by himself with his cursed copy technique, plus Rika can give him unlimited cursed energy for 5 minutes straight, and I imagine that however long Yuta starts to train this ability, much like Gojo's Infinity, he will get better, and the timing for that could be way, way longer until eventually he ends up like Gojo, where he has a permanent supply of cursed energy flowing from Rika into him, running around the clock. Then we have Gojo. We don't even need to explain this dude. Then we obviously have Geto, as he explains, an army of cursed spirits reinforced with his own cursed energy here. And those are just 3 special grades right there. We then still have Yuki Tsukumo, who hasn't even revealed her cursed technique yet. We know nothing about her. This is very interesting scaling from Gege here to finally clarify what makes someone a special grade. To all the guys who are big fans of Hikari, as much as I love Hikari, I don't think Hikari could wipe out a country single-handedly. And I don't think Todo could, I don't think Nanami could. All these other players that people have theorized that could potentially be special grades, I don't think those people could do that personally. We then see Tengen speaking to Yuki, where he says her name, and she says no, not yet. I'm assuming that here Yuki is watching from afar, or Tengen and both of them are watching from afar and assessing the situation here. We then get this internal monologue here from Choso. Says, "I have failed as an older brother, protecting my brothers and bearing their burdens, becoming their role model. That's what it means to be Oni-chan." And then he flashes back to when Kenjaku said, "I'm fascinated" in the last chapter, and he says, "I am not at all fascinating. Even facing this piece of shit father, I can't land a single hit on him, but I cannot let you say that my brothers aren't fascinating," which is then we see a massive eruption of blood arising from Choso here, and he says, "Death Painting brothers, please lend me your strength," and then he screams fire. And I want to point out that a couple of panels ago, Choso was on the floor badly injured and his arm was mangled, so it looks like, but in this, his arm's back to normal and he is screaming, and there is more sort of painting on his face here. There is a lot of power surging from Choso right now, and it even shocks Kenjaku. It looks like the next chapter here, we're going to see just what a Curse Womb Death Painting can finally do. I want to say no main expansion, or like maybe more maximum technique, something shocking that is going to pull Kenjaku off guard. Choso's got to have been confident in his abilities to fight and push Kenjaku to the limit for him to have offered this. There's no way he would just go absolutely throw it all away without the confidence of being able to do this. I can't wait for the next chapter. Chapter 204 cannot come fast enough because this is going to be a banger of a chapter. This chapter overall was massive. Lots and lots of lore and scaling and just little miniature bombshells that just making the series elevate right now. We are truly coming to the peak and the climax of the Culling games here. If I'm honest, I would even say that we have potentially entered the new arc here with this chapter here. But that's all from me. Let me know what you think of the chapter down below, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Much love, peace.